Hello everyone and welcome to this beautiful overview of our wonderful Bear Spice Kingdom. This is episode 4 of our Gnomoria Let's Play, and there was an update since the last episode, and the biggest thing that it added a whole bunch of bug fixes, which is always great to see, but the most notable and most visible change was actually to the zoom levels. Now, the two zoom levels that used to have were the close one and the far away one. They've stayed the same, but you also have a really close one now, so you can go in and see every single pixel of whatever you are looking at, so you don't have to, do some sort of weird, crazy stuff to try and get a really close view at what you're trying to look at, so you can admire the beauty in someone's face. I mean, the facial structure actually, in this wonderful man, his nose is sort of, I don't know, it looks a little bit odd there. I think seeing his nostrils would help a little bit, but I think it would sort of confuse his face too much with, I don't know, being like his mouth. I mean, you know, it's beautiful, the art in this game. It really does get the job done so well, and you shouldn't be critiquing it too hard, because it's just such a beautiful game to look at when you're looking at it. Normally, if you zoom in, you're sort of going to think, God damn, there's a lot of pixels on this screen, what am I even doing? But you would be able to see the great woolly fur coats of the wonderful EX. You'll also be able to see the nice white shiny, very shiny, these horns on these guys here. So that is a nice little addition, along with all the bug fixes, which is always very appreciated to see in an alpha game. So what's going to be happening in this episode? Well, like most episodes, I don't really know exactly what I'm going to be doing when I start it, so we sort of just go by the wire and sort of guess on what we're going to be doing, and basically just look at every situation and assess it, because I think that's part of the fun of this game, sort of thinking on your feet and really just thinking, okay, what do I need to do to solve this problem? Are there any problems that I actually have? And if there are, you know, how do I prevent that from happening in the future, and all that sort of stuff, which is why starting a new kingdom is actually part of the fun along with this game, as opposed to, you know, just having one kingdom that just goes throughout its all stages and never dies. It's definitely a big part of this sort of game. Dying is oftentimes, it makes some of the best stories, you know, like when you look back on the Grizzly Inkling, I think, God damn, those people lasted for so long, and I had, you know, very little experience with that. Actually, the Grizzly Inkling was my main and basically my first kingdom I ever took to that distance in time, you know, because I never played any other worlds or anything when I wasn't playing the Grizzly Inkling, you know. I didn't want to spoil it for myself, because I think actually finding out things and doing that sort of stuff on camera in videos is part of the fun, really. And I'd really like to actually know, leave a comment if you think that the discovery of, you know, the further parts of a game, as long as I have the basics down, is the discovery of those further parts of the game interesting to watch? Because again, I am doing this all for you guys. And I'm not saying in that like, oh, blah blah blah, I'm doing blah blah blah, you know. It's just, I make videos because I really enjoy it, you know. This is such an awesome thing for me to be able to do with the internet these days, and crazy stuff like YouTube, which is amazing. Now we've gotten some extra copper in here, so a suggestion on the last video in the comments was actually to go ahead and just mine out a little bit further than what you actually see when you actually strike copper, so that you can sort of save time for the miners, you know. You sort of get more of the job actually done, as opposed to just running back up and then having to come back down and check on it all. So that is definitely a really good tip. Now, I'm thinking about making some apartments because someone suggested it, and I sort of thought, well, that makes a lot of sense, because, you know, to have this setup that we're going to have in this area, it's going to be, or in this kingdom, I should say, it's going to be more outdoorsy. It's going to be more buildings, as opposed to, you know, digging a hole, digging a ditch and living inside of it. We can actually see that the forge has gone up, and this will be able to make all of our bars and stuff like that. You can also create anvils. But we'll need bars for that first, so we'll go ahead and craft the bars. Just leave it on repeat because we cannot use enough bars. There we go, that is the autosave kicking in right there. The sun has risen, and we're actually in the 7th day of spring. Now, someone put an interesting comment that I completely forgot about. You know, I sort of thought, oh well, it'll just be a random amount of time before enemies come and before nomads come, but it isn't quite that way. I believe it is the start of the next season. So you begin in spring, and then I think it moves into summer. That's when the nomads come, and I do believe that is when also the enemies will come. So I think it's 12 days in a season. So I think we're sort of in the clear for, you know, a few more days at least, at the minimum. So I'm fairly happy about that. I'm really not too worried about it, but we will have to get those metals up and running, and also the armor crafting and the weapon crafting and stuff like that. So I want to go ahead and actually make a few more doors. Now I think the stonecutter is making blocks up to 15. I'm going to go ahead and craft, I don't know, like about 5 doors. And now that we have the furnace up, hopefully I actually set, from the beginning of when you start a new game, you don't actually have a blacksmith set. You'll see that there's a miner, and there's also a blacksmith. So the miner doesn't do the blacksmith job until you actually set him to do it. Now what I've done, and what I think is an okay thing to do, is actually combine the miner and the blacksmith into its own separate profession. So I've still got one dedicated miner. That is Mega Wizard King, and I've also got Joe the Slime Murderer actually being the miner blacksmith, because he had the best stats out of both of these two miners to actually be a blacksmith. So he's going to hopefully go ahead and do all of that wonderful stuff. He's probably sleeping at the moment. I wonder if this Mr. Choco Bear, the wonderful top-hatted man, is actually our rancher. Now also, I was sort of confused in the last episode, because as soon as the second yak that I was actually extraditing her in a certain way, because I was sort of telling her, no, don't go in the pasture with the other one, because I was just silly, and I thought that 0 meant infinite, basically, but it actually means 0, like it literally says. We're actually just going ahead and we're actually gathering some of this cotton and getting that in there. We should actually make a stockpile for that cotton, which also brings up another point that has to do with yaks. The first yak that I kill should be... Wait, the first yak that is actually born... Sort of jumping ahead of myself there. The first yak that is born out of these two, because there is a male and a female here, should be slaughtered so that you can get the bones and actually make the bone needle, because that is needed for making the loom and also the other workshops that deal with working with cotton and fabrics and things like that, because you need bandages. If you don't have bandages, I don't think there's any other way for you to be able to patch up wounds and sort of stop bleeding, because, you know, like if you don't have bandages, someone starts bleeding, I think that's literally a death sentence until you do get some of those bandages. Maybe a hospital would help, but I mean, I'd still assume that you still need bandages, because that would that basically mean that a hospital is like crazy, doesn't need bandages. They use crazy magics to actually go ahead and produce all of that stuff. We've got blocks actually being created in this wonderful stonecutter. Now the doors actually got built, so I go ahead and go into our build, into our furniture, and we've got 3 stone doors at the moment. Let's go ahead and place that one there. And we've also got, I think I might want to put one towards the well area, but it's really not necessary at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave those extra doors to basically do whatever they want. Now, I think I have to build, so I've got this well here. Now the well, actually, there was an interesting point raised in the comments as well. Well. Anyway, so yeah, I don't think the well actually has to be right on the surface of the water. If I built the well up here, as long as it's above water, because if you know how wells work, it's basically a rope that goes down with a bucket. At least I assume in this game that's how it works. And the bucket brings back up water because you pull the rope back up. You don't actually need to be on the surface. So, you know, if you're thinking, oh my god, I need to put the well on the surface because I said so, well, I'm pretty sure that is actually wrong. You can just place it anywhere above water and you will be fine. But at the moment, I think I need to go ahead and dig a stairs down right here. Make sure we face it in the right direction. And hopefully someone will get on that, and then we can actually just go ahead and cancel this job here because we don't need that. We just need to mine out that block so we can get to that well and then get the water from there. So yeah, I mean, I guess I could have done it quicker if I just put the well here, but part of the reason I wanted to go through underground was to make it safer and also to try and get to the surface of the water because I didn't quite know exactly what I was doing. But you know, it's a learning experience, and it's really awesome to see that people are worried about the bear spices, you know, the efficiency of everything that we're doing. So I thank everyone for leaving your comments. They're so appreciated. I love you all. You're crazy people. Well, I don't know if you're actually crazy. I'm probably a lot more crazy than most of you guys, so I shouldn't be pointing the finger when I can't actually say that I'm a completely sane person myself. And so yeah, we're gonna go down and get some more of this copper. We're also gonna start mining a little bit further down in here as well. Now we've got a whole bunch of stuff here on this level. We've got a whole bunch of coal. There's also a whole bunch of copper also getting taken out of here. Go ahead and just make that a little bit bigger, that mining area. And we seem to have some bars actually being made in the forge, so we'll need to actually have an area for those bars to go. Now I'm fairly sure that these crates are completely full of ores. I want to try and shrink the size of this stockpile right here. So if we go ahead, we got a whole bunch of pine crates, so I'll go ahead and chuck 2 of those, and that should be able to take up all of that space. And basically remove the need for that size of stockpile. So go ahead and go down to storage, make our crates right here, and plop them down there. Then we can go ahead and remove the designation. As long as it's paused, people won't freak out and go, oh my god, where do we put these bars? Where do we put anything that was in the stockpile that I just cancelled? You just have to make sure that you pause it first, and then you can go ahead and redesignate that stockpile. I'll make it about that big, just to, make for the future, for future upgrades to this size of it. Now this is going to be the ores, and we can go ahead and just go down to the metals. The metals are actually up here, and make sure all of the ores, regardless of what they are, will go into there. And then we can go ahead and actually, I think I'm going to queue up a few more in the carpenter. I'm going to queue up a few more of those crates, because they're going to be incredibly useful for shrinking the size of the stockpiles that I'm actually using, and in turn sort of reducing the size of everything, so I can fit everything into a much more compact space, so people have to run around less, and it really just sort of benefits you in a bunch of ways, which is always nice. Now I didn't actually check, do we have all of the torches placed yet down in the mines? We seem to have the majority of them. Just quickly go ahead and rip that copper out of there. Yeah, it looks like we have almost all of the torches actually ready and sitting in and lighting up the areas. I'm going to go ahead and mine out this big chunk, not only for the stone, but also just to make sure the light actually goes through and pierces all of these areas. We can see the shadows coming off of this little wall will actually make all of this area dark, because that's the way that light works. If you don't actually have a direct access to the light source, then it's just going to be left in darkness, and that's a wonderful thing, but it's also a very sad thing. And I don't know why it's sad, but I just sort of felt like saying that it was sad, because darkness, it's not always the best. Sometimes you want it to be nice and bright and really nice and bright. Sort of just keep on saying bright, and maybe it'll make it a little bit nicer. But yeah, we'll go ahead and make these torches. The torches, basically, I haven't stockpiled them at all, simply because of the new crafting system that allows me to just basically on the fly create all of that stuff as it pleases. Now I'll go ahead and actually mine out a large area here, and this torch should be able to light up all of this area. And there's a lot of work for our miners to do, so we can go up and go ahead and check up on any of the other things that we need to do. So the blacksmithing profession is working well on the forge. We do seem to have, well, it's only actually 1 copper bar, but everyone is sleeping, so I go ahead, I can excuse them for doing that. Now I think we'll put the apartments somewhere out here, somewhere near the apple trees, because the apple trees are a very, very happy place. We've got 54 food and 68 drink. We could use some more food, so I'll go ahead and also get a forage order on a whole bunch of these trees. Then we can cut the saplings off of those and sort of get the foundation of our tree farm kind of started. It's not a huge worry because there are so many trees on this world so close to us. Actually, we'll check up on these stocks and quickly see how much wood we actually have. We've got 93 logs, 9 planks, and 10 sticks, so that's still quite a lot of logs to be turned into those planks. So I'm going to go ahead and build some more stone walls, and it's going to basically just be to sort of corner off this whole place from the outside enemies. In fact, these trees will have to go eventually, but you know what? I think I'm going to do a staged sort of expansion, so I don't get too ahead of myself, so I don't start making a wall that's huge, crazy stuff that I can't actually complete within a reasonable amount of time. I'm going to go ahead and sort of just start making smaller sections of the walls and sort of getting these done in smaller jobs, because we don't want to sort of clog up the builders too much. If there's more important things like workshops and stuff like that to be built, then we want those to get done, as opposed to just these walls that aren't necessarily too important, especially since we won't be seeing any enemies for at least, I don't know, 4 days until the start of summer. At least I hope we could get surprised and see something crazy come out of the game, and we'll be like, oh my god, what do I do? So we still got some cotton here. We're gonna have to go ahead and make, I don't know where, I think around here we'll put the bandages, so we can go ahead, go into our agriculture, and actually, I don't need to cut the clippings because I've got quite a lot of pine clippings, and we also have, like I said, a lot of wood. So the bandages and things like that will be here. The whole cloth industry, I guess, will go here in this little area. We see the build is actually getting started on this these stone walls. So we can go ahead and make a stockpile for all of that cotton to sort of sit about here. We'll have to get a crate for it. I think I'll do a 3x3 and chuck a lot of crates in there. So we'll make this the cotton. Go ahead and chuck that up to priority 3 like we always do. And it will be the cloth. I'm actually just going to get... I don't know if I should just get everything inside of cloth. Like, I think I'll definitely get bolts of cloth to sit in here, but the rest of the stuff, we'll use string as well. We'll put string in there as well, but bandages and mattresses will want to go somewhere else, so we can sort of divide up those things in a more logical way, as opposed to having everything stuffed into one stockpile, which may work for some people, but I think it's nice to sort of have everything spread out, and so you know exactly what you're looking at when you're actually, coming back to sort of adjust and see how much you've got in those stockpiles. So yeah, that's going to be that stockpile, and we should see that cotton start to move in soon. We've actually got this sack sitting right here, and it's actually full of seeds. There's actually 2 sacks there. Well, they're actually bags, not sacks. And we can go ahead and I believe we can actually just place them anywhere we want. We don't actually have to put them in a... Oh wait, we do have to put them in a stockpile. As you can see, it lights up green once we put it in a stockpile. So I'm going to go ahead and make a little stockpile for the seeds. This will just be a fairly temporary one. So we'll go ahead and make it just a 2x2 just to fill up that. And this will be seeds. Put it up to 3, and we can go ahead and go down to these plants. I think we'll go ahead and just make it seeds as opposed to everything else, because that's all we want to put in at the moment. Then go back to our storage menu and put those bags in there. It's going to be incredibly useful just to get that stuff out of the way and put it inside, as opposed to leaving it outside and making it get all soggy and stuff like that. Now the clippings are actually... There's a bit of an odd situation happening here. I'm not sure if clippings go into crates. I did think that they did, but it doesn't appear that any clippings are actually going into this crate here. We've only got the copper gear that we start out with for the military. So that pretty much makes me think, okay, so clippings probably don't go in crates. I guess they might actually go into bags. So if I was to create a bag and put it into that stockpile for those clippings, it should fill up. I think maybe saplings actually go, or clippings or whatever you want to call them, might actually go into bags. So yeah, that may be how that works. We can see this wall getting almost halfway done. We just need this section actually finished off there. Now, what else do I actually need to do? Well, I need to start working with weapons and armors and stuff like that, and that's all going to go in this general area. I could actually expand this a little bit more and allow for some more room. What are these? Okay, so these trees over here have been cut down. Now there's actually extra crates have been placed, or actually made. So I can go ahead into our storage. And actually we've got 9 crates. That's a hell of a lot of crates. We're gonna need a lot of those for the wood, because we don't want wood just laying around and sort of just littering up the place. We want all of it to go into stockpiles and stuff. There we can see those bags moving into there. And we also probably want to get some... Where else would we want to put crates? Well, we want to put crates in the food, but that's taken care of at the moment. I think we should probably just put one in the ore stockpile as well. And we should probably make a stockpile for our bars, our metal bars to be stored. And I'll probably put that like around here. Let's go ahead and designate a stockpile and place it here. And we'll call it our metal bars. We'll know what that is called. Go ahead into our metals and get any bars. Cutting wheel, that's interesting, and a file and a ball peen hammer. I think that's the hammer that you use to actually beat metals into certain shapes. Like when you're trying to spread out a piece of metal into like a shield or something, you just smash it with those hammers and it makes it expand and stuff like that. I think that's what it is. I can only assume. You can see what is this little cotton seed? Has that always been like that? It looks like it's just a bunch of trash sitting right next to the furnace, and I don't know, maybe it's like coal and stuff just sitting there ready to go into the furnace. That probably makes sense. This stockpile for the bars is definitely going to need probably 2 crates, I would say, at least, because that's going to hold 64 in there. For some reason we haven't got the ores actually moving into this stockpile here. That crate is full, that crate is full. And hold on, didn't I actually have 3 in here? I swear I had 3 actually ready to go in there. But we'll go ahead and make some more crates so we can get rid of all of these ores sitting out here, because otherwise it's going to clog up the actual bars, stockpile, as well as anything else that I decide to put there. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and place an extra one in there as well, because we have the crates, so we may as well go ahead and use them. And now we can see someone actually transporting stuff into here. Not sure what. Oh, that would be the logs and the planks and also the sticks, because that's where everything goes in there. We can actually see the logs are being cleaned up from all of our areas here, so we can go ahead and hopefully, we actually need to make let's go ahead and actually see. We'll discover this for ourselves in the workshop for the cloth. The loom, it only needs a loom and a chair. So we'll go ahead and place that right in the corner here, really close to the cotton stockpile. And then if we go ahead and look at the wonderful tailor, the tailor's going to need a bone needle. So we essentially have to wait until we get a bone from an animal to be able to make this. But we will queue it up regardless, and we'll put it right. We'll just space it 1 away from the loom, so I can actually differentiate the 2 fairly quickly. Now the cotton still hasn't moved. Okay, so we need bags for cotton. So the cotton's going to sit out here for a little while, and it's going to look a little bit ugly, but I think that's okay, because we're sort of just getting ready to make those bags, and we're getting ready for a yak to be born, and then we can go ahead and slaughter that. Actually, we're going to need a butcher shop and also the kitchen very shortly. So we go into our workshop, and just to prepare, basically, we'll go ahead and create the butcher shop. It needs a knife, and knives are actually created in the stonemason's workshop, so we do have that. We do have a stonemason. Now the food industry, well, I don't know where this is going to go. We've got stone industry is basically going to take up this area here when I eventually expand it all. I think the food will sit mainly in the middle and sort of spreading out here. I think that sounds like a decent idea, because, you know, if food is central, then people don't have to run too far from wherever they may be in the map to actually get to it. So we're going to go ahead and place the butcher shop right there. And I don't know if we need any other stockpiles for anything else. It seems that we're going fairly well. There's the milk stockpiles going quite nicely there. We can see that the barrels are still not even half full, so we've got plenty of capacity there. We can see the ores have moved away from this area, and they've actually gone into this nice little stockpile that we created with all of those crates. Now I'm going to go ahead and want to make a wall. We're going to want to close off this wall here. We're also going to want to cut the clippings. I'll just leave a little doorway right near these trees. Just leave that doorway there, and we can go ahead and just go to agriculture and cut the clippings of all of these we need to actually start from here. Cut the clippings of all these apple trees that we just went ahead and foraged the apples from, because there's no reason not to. We're also going to cut those down eventually to get some more room. Now, I don't know if people are running to the well to actually get drinks. We can see someone is running here, and it would appear, yep. Oh wait, no, we actually need the well. The well isn't built yet. So that's really nice to see the resources being transported over there. I just want to watch and see what this beautiful lady actually needs along with what she already has there. I assume it would be blocks, or it might be something else. She's running over here. I think she's going to get more planks. So she seems to have all of her stone blocks there, which is wonderful to see. Now, I'm not sure if this doesn't appear to be an entryway to our kingdom. So we don't have to worry about that at all. We don't have to worry about putting a door in the tunnel here, so that's going to be absolutely safe. And I think that's going to go ahead and do it for this episode. A bunch of progress. We've got our blacksmith working. We've got some extra doors on standby, basically. We've got the butcher shop. Will be coming up fairly soon as that knife gets built, and all the other crazy stuff. We've got some extra sapling coming in from those apple trees. I want to thank everyone for watching so much. Hope you'll join me in the next episode. As always, leave a like or any sort of rating. You can dislike it, you can comment on what you did or didn't like on the video. I really do appreciate that, and you're free to basically do whatever you want, and that's really amazing. So I'll see you guys next time. My name is Derpify. This is episode 4 of the Bear Spice Season 2 of Gnomoria. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.